The original Super Mario Maker is one of my favorite games ever made. It's just so fun to design and play levels as it allows you to create all sorts of amazing and creative things. However, the game also allows you to play 68 courses made by Nintendo themselves. These are called sample courses, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the list, you'll find 4 levels named NWC 2015-1, NWC 2015-2, NWC 2015-3, and NWC 2015-4. These are 4 levels made for the Nintendo World Championships 2015 competition to see who could beat the levels the fastest. It's probably a lie, but I have a blurry memory. What can I do? However, after the event, Nintendo decided to add these to the game as sample courses. Welcome to another episode of my level analysis series. I really hope this video is longer than some of my other ones because this is just embarrassing. Like last time, we'll be breaking down these levels into 3 sections. First, we'll look at the layout, then the aesthetic, and finally end with some highlights. Also, coincidentally, I'm posting this around the same time Mario Maker celebrates its 10th anniversary, which is great for me. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. NWC 2015-1 is the first level on our list. You start off in what looks like 1-1 from the original Super Mario Bros., but all the blocks contain enemies in them. Except there's one which contains a vine that leads to a single coin, so what's that about? After getting past the pipes, the level takes a turn. Instead of there being a pit like in the original, a massive wall made of fire bars is blocking the goal. Instead, you have to enter the pipe to move on with the level. This takes us to the same area, but all the enemies are now giant. And there is also an abomination of enemies in between 2 of the pipes as well. However, the firebar wall is now a firebar platform. Also, there's a question block containing a hammer bro. Really funny troll there, guys. Anyways, after that, you have to avoid a bunch of giant winged piranha plants coming out of the pipes. Now, this is the part of the level that I don't like. You have to use treadmills as platforms to continue on with the level. However, these treadmills are tiny, and if you fall off, you have to start again. I just find it tedious having to do this part over and over again until you make it. After that, you just need to jump off some paratroopers. However, even these can be annoying because sometimes I end up bumping into them and I have to do the whole level again. After entering the pipe, the level comes to an end. There's also a coin shower for some reason. Cool. Yeah, so unfortunately this level's kinda mid. I do like how it starts, but I really dislike the ending. But is the aesthetic any better? Well, it uses the original Super Mario Bros. Game style, and it also uses the ground theme, which is really overused. I do like some other things, like this grinder hanging off a vine, these enemies in cages, and these mushroom platforms on the treadmills. As for some highlights, the vine that leads to a single coin on a cloud is kind of funny. And also the small details of the lower treadmills are nice as well. NWC 2015-2 is next, and this is probably my least favorite of these 4 levels. It's just kind of hard to the point where it's annoying, but let's get into the layout. You start the level off in an airship, however there is a massive pit below, and the only way to get across is with a clown car. Now I don't know about you, but I hate these things. They're usually annoying to navigate, and when it bumps into a spike trap, it basically passes out and is uncontrollable. Anyways, the first obstacle in the level is a massive army of lava bubbles. Then after that, you have to go through a passage with burners, avoid some large chain chomps, and then squeeze through the scap with a bunch of piranha plants coming out of the pipes, and also some spike traps on the wall. It can be difficult, but hitting the spikes is extremely annoying. Then you have to leave the clown car and enter this tight area with a bullseye barrel launched from the side. It can be stressful trying to make it out here alive. After climbing a few vines, you enter this area with a Koopa and a Sludge Bro. However, there are also giant buzzy beetles coming down from a pipe in the ceiling. This part is hard, but that also makes it kind of annoying. If you die, you literally have to do the entire thing again. After entering a pipe, you're taken to a normal area, however all the blocks and pipes contain enemies, which is useless because it just annoys the player. After passing off some note blocks, you make it to an area with Koopas coming out of a pipe. However, there are also spinies crawling on the ceiling, so you have to be careful with your jumps. Then you have to kick the Koopa so that it releases a vine and a mushroom. You obviously want to get the mushrooms, so you have to be quick or else it will fall. Then you have to maneuver across this area with vines. Now thankfully, I don't recall dying here, but it's still extremely scary. After that, you have to wear a Goomba suit to cross some grinders. After dodging a few thwomps, you have to get on another clown car to reach the pipe. However, it's guarded by enemies. Usually I just try and defeat them all, but I'm pretty sure it's possible to get through without killing a single one. After that, you enter a pipe taking you to the goal. Now that may not seem too bad, but for whatever reason, when I played the level for this video, it was pure hell. I kept dying in places that I don't normally die. I kept getting frustrated, but I did make it. This is why NWC 2015-2 is my least favorite level, because of how frustrating it can be. NWC 2015-1 can be annoying too, but NWC 2015-2 is literally hell. The aesthetic is a bit better here. I do like this part where they use semi-solids as decoration. I also really like how the Mario 3 airships look. The wood just looks really nice. I don't know about the ground theme though, I've always just thought it looked alright. As for some highlights, I don't really have any. Let's just move on to WC 2015-3. And WC 2015-3 is slightly better. I wouldn't say by a lot, but I did enjoy it more than the other two levels. You start with a fall to a picador area. Basically, if you don't know, a picador is where there are 4 doors, however, only one allows you to progress in the level. These are terrible because you don't know which one takes you to a goal, and if you're unlucky, there might be errors pointing at what looks like the right door, but it isn't. Anyways, going into door 3 takes us to a hallway made from turn blocks. This part can be intense for a new player, as outrunning the cannonballs can be challenging. However, my favorite part is when the Buzzy Beetle hits a power block and a P-switch, making the entire hallway collapse into coins. You then get put into this very bouncy area with springs coming out of the blasters and no blocks. You then have to use one of the springs to climb up a wall with a Koopa. You then have to kick him into this narrow passageway so that the shell opens a question block with a vine. After jumping on a cannonball, you then have to jump on some parabeetles before entering a pipe. That takes us to... oh, it's another picador. Fantastic stuff, guys. This time going to door 6 takes us to another hole with a mushroom above the roof. I also like how you can wait for the mushroom to come down by itself, or you can also hit a block so that the mushroom can come down earlier. Then after some spin jumps on the turn blocks, or if you're a coward, you can just use the bomb, you make it to an area with swamps. Honestly, this is kind of anticlimactic. I mean, it may seem challenging, but if you know what you're doing, it's really bloody easy. Also, never ever spin jump here. It will not end well. Trust me. Anyways, after that, you reach the level's penultimate challenge, which is jumping off some platforms and parabeetles while avoiding obstacles such as swamps and Bowser's fire. Also, if you suck, you get put into this ugly vertical maze area. After entering one last pipe, the level comes to a close. This one's alright. I don't really have too many problems with it, but still, it's not the best thing ever. The aesthetic here, though, is kinda mid. It uses the Mario World Underground theme, but it's both a bit ugly and very overused. The way it's used here, though, is kinda nice, as it kinda looks like those subterranean underground tunnels. As for a highlight, the part where you can choose how you can get the mushroom is nice, as it kind of encourages speedrunning due to less experienced players waiting for the mushroom to make its way, but for more experienced players, they can just hit a block and they get it. But now, it's time for my favorite level in the game, NWC 2015-4. This level nails pretty much what every other one didn't by making it challenging, but not too challenging to the point where it's annoying. You start the level off with you having to wall jump while avoiding grinders. Not only does this feel nice to do, but I also like how you can get a mushroom before doing it so you don't have to risk dying. After that, you have to jump off a cannonball, jump off a platform, and then wall jump between some pillars. Then you need to break some bricks using a ground pound, which in my opinion is a really great way to show it off. Then you have to jump on some flying blocks while dodging lava bubbles before making it to another pipe. Entering that takes us to an underwater section. Now, I normally don't like these because they're extremely slow, and sometimes they drag on for way too long. However, this one is really not too bad. You just have to swing through some grinders, kill some bloopers and cheap sheeps, and outrun a bunch of wigglers. Come to think of it, this might have been the inspiration for Mario Wonder's Wiggler races. Anyways, after entering another pipe, you're no longer underwater. This time we get to use Yoshi, which I really enjoy because I like Yoshi a lot. Here you have to do a flutter jump, get off Yoshi, then fall between some spike traps to activate a P-switch. Then you have to get back on Yoshi, as you have to do a platforming challenge to avoid some fire bars. Sadly, this is the last time we'll see him, as you need to make your way through an invisible block path. After that, you have to do a platforming challenge off some blue platforms that fall when you land on them. Then you have to jump off some hard blocks on tracks and a donut block. Now sadly, this is the part of the level I don't like. It's not about the challenges, but if you fail, you have to do the part with the blue platforms again. I personally think this is unnecessary. Just put a door before doing the challenge with the moving blocks. Anyways, the penultimate challenge requires you to do some platforming on some ice blocks. You also have to ride a skull platform while avoiding them, which I like. After riding another skull platform, you're faced with the final boss, Bowser. He'll obviously shoot fire at you, however he also has a bullseye bow blaster and a normal blaster that shoots fire flowers on his shell. I personally like to defeat him by throwing like 60 fireballs at him, however I'm pretty sure you can just run under him when he jumps. Either way, after defeating him, the level comes to a close. This was just a phenomenal way to show off Mario's moveset in a variety of different challenges. This is not only my favorite level in this video, but my favorite sample level in the game. You were always doing something challenging, and I enjoyed basically every second of the level. The aesthetic is also very nice. It takes place in the new Super Mario Bros. U castle theme, which is just perfect. I've always liked the break pattern on the walls, and the boiling red just makes the theme look even nicer. The music sets the tone of the level perfectly. While the level design isn't always the best, it doesn't matter because the way the level is executed is almost perfect. it. Two highlights I want to mention are trying to make it past the invisible block part while hitting the least blocks. It's a fun way to try and speedrun the level, as you have to memorize where the gap before the invisible blocks are. The other highlight is the final Bowser fight, as you can either take your time with it like I always do by shooting fireballs with Bowser, or you could do it quickly by running under him when he jumps. These choices between easy and hard always make a level better for me. But anyways, that's it for this video. Are you mad that I didn't mention Don't Delay on here despite it not being the 17th world? Let me know in the comments. I'll be honest with you all, I'm not doing a good job of making good videos. They never get views, they never get likes, they never get comments, but I am not going to give up on YouTube. And also, I want to apologize if I got anything wrong in this video, or if some parts of the script sound like I'm being lazy. It's probably because I haven't made a video for like 2 months, so that's probably why. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!